Beacon Hills, a town that is just as freaky in the past as it is right now. Today we're talking about episode 321, The Fox and the Wolf. It's a very unusual episode, and it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews in the fandom, so I am very curious to see what Lilith thinks about it, because we haven't had really a chance to talk about it. So, I am Dawn.
And I am Lilith, and for once, I'm not confused. We actually have somewhat of some kind of answers. There's interesting stuff brewing in the background with the pairings, and we left on a cliffhanger of Styles and Papa Stillins.
I will agree 100% that this one is much, much better when it comes to answers. I feel like we got a whole bunch of information, so there is lots of kudos to be had for that.
So what was the score on the ratings this week?
Our demo stayed the same, so we've had a 0.9 in ratings for several weeks now. Our viewers went up. Last week we had 1.935 million, and this week we have 2.067 million. So we're right where we normally are for Teen Wolf. It seems like lots of shows are starting to fall in ratings right now, so I think that the placement of Teen Wolf, where we're getting ready to go into hiatus right when most shows fall off in the ratings, was a pretty good idea on MTV's part.
That takes us right into all the cool stuff that you want to know about the episode. We had a brand new writer. His name was Ian Stokes, and we had Tim Andrews directing once again, which I found kind of odd because it didn't feel like Tim Andrews. And the synopsis for The Fox and the Wolf, not to be confused with the parable or whatever, The Wolf and the Fox. A brief synopsis is we get a ton of flashbacks, and yes, finally, the Yakamoras come to a shining spotlight. How the fandom reacts to it, well, everybody's different.
I don't think it was the Yakamuras that was the problem in the fandom.
It was the flashback and the sketchiness of it all, and I was just like, no, we finally get them. And I'm like, no, not a flashback. Anything. I told you we were getting an info dump and a flashback. Did I not?
The info dump had to come because there was only 4 episodes left and we knew nothing.
Lots to take in this episode. I will say that it was very visually stunning.
It was just a different episode.
Yeah, we got answers, but I still have far more questions, per usual, season 3B.
Oh, yes. Probably start with what was good about the episode first.
Start with a line that happened in the very first scene. I was just taken aback. And I was like, actually, because I live stream it, and I was like, wait, is this Teen Wolf? Because I literally had missed like the previous season and everything, so I had no clue what was going on. And I hear this guy giving a riddle. I'm like, okay, yeah, riddles. This must be Teen Wolf. What gets broken without being held? And, the guy number 2 goes, I don't care. And then the Nigasuni comes when he comes back to life. What has a neck but no head? And then rips the guy's head off.
I did laugh at that point because I thought, he's speaking for the audience. Number 10 for me. Kira interrupts her mom's love flashbacks with a Casablanca reference.
Yup, that was on mine too.
First off, I'm going, she knows Casablanca? Awesome! But what I love most about it, and I may be the only one, but I doubt it, was that the very first thing I thought of when she started on that is The Princess Bride. She's like, stop! Just stop! I don't want to hear your Casablanca story. And I swear the first thing I thought was the kid interrupting the grandpa in Princess Bride asking, is this a kissing story?
The next thing I liked was, it's just a really small moment, but it just basically sums up how I feel about the Nigasuni at this point, is when Kira's dad smashes the fly with the book.
Number 9 for me, Sheriff confirms my theory that Styles does not have a degenerative brain disorder, but that it is the Nigasuni instead. It's like, oh, yay. Score on that one. Don't score very often. Plus, it means that we don't have that hanging over our head when they finally get the Nigasuni out of Styles.
I like the little shot of Kira putting the sword back together with her little lightning from her hands. or electrical discharge or whatever. I thought that was a cool visual effect. And I really am not a fan of the prosthetics of the werewolf stuff. So when there's cool technical stuff, I'm all over it like white on rice.
It was a cool visual. I have massive problems with it, but it was a cool visual. Number 8 for me is a quote. Kira, Dad, how old are you? History, Dad. 43, but I've been told I look mid-30s. Man, you brought the comedy like the whole time. I like this guy. He's another parent I can really get behind. And, you know, I assume you're not dying, History Dad. I would love if you had a name. Just saying.
Yeah.
All I know is that History Dad needs to get a name that I can put on him because it's too long to type out History Dad. But he also needs to stay.
We do need to stop losing teachers in Beacon Hills.
Yes.
Let's not make this the dark arts position.
Yeah. Harry Potter reference.
First one of the night. Actually, one of my favorite scenes is Deputy Dreamy not wanting to give Chris his quote-unquote lightsaber back.
Number 2 for me.
Really? That high?
Oh, absolutely. Second best thing in the whole freaking episode. And now I have another character to worry about because he's definitely red shirt material. And it wasn't just the lightsaber thing, but his first quote too. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you could use it to jumpstart a 747. Both of them, classically snarky fun. He's got to stay around for a while because if we're going to lose Coach, we need somebody to bring the snark. Number 2 on my list, probably my favorite moment in the entire episode. Number 7, I combined 2 moments in because the 2 combined take a total of 10 seconds. It is Dark Styles waves to the camera and Dark Styles says, hi to Dad.
I had the security footage because I was like, oh, smart sheriff. I like to see the parents being proactive and smart. Okay, and then my next scene, it's sheriff asking Chris and Derek for help. Anything to get Chris on my screen, basically.
Yeah, and working with Derek is a plus.
Yeah.
Number 6 for me, the chessboard's return. For no other reason than it reminds me of the 3A scene that I adore. So, unless the chessboard really is predicting the death of Isaac or Derek, then I am all cool for it to come back every season. Now, if it is predicting Derek's death, not so much.
I kind of have an issue with that scene, even though it is on my list. It's like literally the next one I was getting ready to talk about. It had me like really annoyed. It's like, oh, Derek's overly protected. When has Derek ever been overly insulated ever? Like that line just ticked me off.
Absolutely. And did you see who was protecting him?
Yeah.
The Alpha Twins and Peter.
Yeah, and you just know that can't be right.
Yeah, I thought that was rather hilarious. I don't think it had anything to do with protecting Derek. As a matter of fact, if they were going to be protecting anyone, Scott would be the one that they were standing in front, except for Peter, because Peter would be off on the side making plans with all the dead people. So,
yeah, exactly.
Number 5 is a brief moment that I love because not only was it fabulous and creepy, but it also brought back my favorite fairy, Flo, the continuity fairy. And it is Dark Styles piano fingering over the classroom desks, just like he did on the katana in Scott. I love that. I love the continuity. I also love the fact that, and although it's bizarre for me, but for this entire season, 3A, 3B, the entire season, they seem to have had a fetish about Styles' hands.
Yep.
They have all these close-up pan-ins of Styles' hands, which is very weird to me. I don't know if there's something going there or not, but I love the continuity in it because it feels like every single episode, even if Styles is only in it for a brief moment, we get that pan in on his hands. And in this case, I love the piano fingering.
Well, if you are into dream interpretation, hands represent relationships, and there's lots of relationships forming and falling apart and becoming something different in season 3A as well as season 3B, so that might be a little meta or something.
Alright. I think it's cool. I think it's cool because it's continuity, and continuity builds trust in writers.
I guess I'm just gonna have my fangirl moment of the night. The best thing about the flashbacks was Arden Cho and the clothing and the makeup. She was just absolutely flawless in looks-wise in it, and I think that attention to detail was really nice with the hair and the clothes and the heels. It was just nice to see. That's the best thing about the flashbacks for me.
Number 4 for me, Allison and Sheriff hug. Coming right after the brilliant Allison breaks down in the elevator scene. We needed that moment. The character needed that moment in the fandom. We needed something to feel sympathy for her. And I really, really like how she admits right out loud that while she's always trying to pretend like she has everything together, she really doesn't inside. And I think that one of the reasons why people in the fandom sometimes have a hard time connecting with her is because she does always look like she has the answer. She's always together, she's always brave, that kind of thing. And so to recognize that and just put it flat out there for the fandom, I hope will make her more sympathetic in there. But also, I really, really love that they partnered up Allison and Sheriff, who have had essentially zero time alone together. I do like that they are shifting these partnerships all over the place. They've done a better job with that in 3B than they have in all the other seasons put together. And so I thought that that was a really brilliant way of doing it. And it just really was a powerful, well-acted moment. That is my my pick for the best acting of the night.
I had that on my list too, and of course, it's probably going to be my favorite character interaction. I don't know. I'm still going back and forth at this particular moment.
I had a hard time with character interaction also.
I had a hard time with all the awards this week, actually, if I'm going to be honest.
Me too.
Did we talk about this, the very second scene with Dark Styles and Kira's dad? Like, I just like, he comes in, he does that snarky line, coming to school on a Saturday, that's dedication, just starts flipping the books, like, he just knew that they were in the book. I guess he'd overheard Scott and Kira talking, or maybe she was talking to him too, but I just like that he's just looking for it. And, like, Kira's dad is just trying to play dumb the whole time. I can direct you to the Japanese mythology section in the school library.
And let me just tell you that there is no school in America that has a Japanese mythology section. Maybe a book, maybe 2 or 3 if you're really lucky, but a section? Number 3 for me, Sheriff Derek and the Argents partner up. Every time they were together, it made the episode better. And it wasn't just because it was actually focusing on characters that I cared about and knew about, had any personal history and background with. That was a plus. But again, we've got unusual pairings, and that works very well. It keeps the show from being stale because we're looking at these characters from a different point of view. And I just thought that was brilliant.
And then another line, it just, Kira, oh my gosh, she was kind of on fire when she was being snooty to her mom. Okay, sure, why not? Because basically that's how I feel about Teen Wolf and this Nigasuni, Kinesuni, the only thing, sure, okay, why not? Like, literally, that's my reaction this whole episode. Scrolls and fingers, sure, okay, why not?
Alright, my replacement one for Parrish, I'm going to pull in a Kira quote also, and it's, "You're not seriously giving Dad magic mushrooms."
The relocation camp was the hospital. Like, I was, like, you know, the Ecken house, and I was just like, oh, score 1 for me. I actually pulled a thread apart. And then they kind of went into the whole, they got back into the Echo thing, and that kind of comes later on, about my theory about what's so important about Echo, because, well, they kind of made it flat out a point of it in this episode to say certain things. Yep.
Yeah, again. And it felt like Lydia was listening to Echoes to find Styles in the first place.
Yeah.
So, it's seriously, I'm feeling like it's the currents of this season. Number 1, and the best reason to watch this episode was, dun dun dun, answers. That is the number 1 thing about this episode. If nothing else, we now at least understand where the Nagatsune came from, why we have Mummy Mouth to begin with, what the heck the freaking riddles had anything to do with anything. You know, we understand what the freaking flies are about. There was a lot of information dumped on us in this one, and it gave us the answers that we need. Our choice was to either dump most of the answers in one episode, or spend 20 minutes of each episode from here on out covering the answers and a big bunch of exposition. So if we're gonna cram all the answers in 4 episodes, I would rather do it this way.
Yeah, get it out of the way. My favorite thing of the whole episode was the flashback to the Nemeton in its full glory.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very visually stunning shot, along with, she buried the lightning. Like, because remember we were talking about that, like, so she did bury him, and they have been here. It was all confirmed, and I kind of like the little backstory about how Kira's mom and dad met and all that stuff.
I gotta tell you, some of my favorite tweets, and the thing that I thought for immediately was that line when he said, "That's how I met your mother, Kira."
Yes!
I'm sorry, but that was just brilliant, because everybody and their cousin was thinking How I Met Your Mother. So those are some of the good things about the episode, and now we're into some of the issues.
Yes, issues. And actually, I mean, other than the pacing of the flashbacks and just the info dump that I'm not a fan of, but it's a lesser of two evils, I didn't have a lot of, in it being slow, I didn't have a lot of issues, so.
Oh, that's good. I did.
I knew I could count on you. I'll start off. Kira. So where did the Nigasuni come from? Kira's mom. Is it obvious yet? No, that's why we're asking.
I wrote that too. I'm like, no, it's not. There are a lot of things that are obvious here. That is not one of them.
Oh.
Is it obvious that you have something to do with it? Absolutely. But I think we're looking for a little more context here. It's kind of like Malia in the last episode where Skiles is like self and she's like, can you get me a little more info? That was the most ridiculous line of the night. Number 6. The riddle followed by the beheading. Seriously? Really? That's like that's the cold open, guys. You can't cold open with tearing somebody's head off. I was eating. That's just gross.
More slow motion running? Are you kidding me? In black and white? Really? With the overhanded scoring? It's like the trifecta of just, ugh.
It's the bingo square. It really is. Number 4. Kira's healing powers. Kira's powers, period. It still bugs me that they infodumped her ninja skills. Now she's got inherent healing powers. I swear, she is like the most Mary Sue character, and it's only happened in 2 episodes. In 2 episodes, she changed from Kira, the fabulous ingenue, to Kira, the blood device. I hate that.
Well, that's why she needs a spinoff, so we can backtrack.
Please, yes. Let's have battling the Nagasuni takes away her Kitsune powers, similar to the way that fighting the Rock took away all the powers of the Alpha Twins.
Jeff, sometimes it seems like supernatural creatures on Teen Wolf can sense each other. Other times it seems like they can't. And it seemed like the old lady knew Kira's mom was a Kitsune, but Kira's mom didn't know she was a werewolf, and she at that point she was 810 years old. Really?
Yes, and yes. Seriously, when we started with the flashbacks, and she starts talking about her being a fox, I was like, does Kira not have a secret identity at this time? Was this, or not Kira, but her mom? I was like, did she tell, are they family? How does this lady know this? And then I was like, okay, I still don't know. But she did. Good for her.
And she was a bitten wolf on top of that. Like, it's just bad.
Yeah. And then Styles in the books, it almost felt like he had supernatural radar, but he's not having supernatural radar for things like, I don't know, how to kill the mom. Why doesn't he just kill Kara's mom? You don't have to worry about the Oni then. It just that doesn't make sense to me. Number 3, and one of the reasons why I really did not like this episode. Seriously, we get all these flashes of the Titanic movie and more Romeo and Juliet nonsense. How much freaking Romeo and Juliet stuff can you get in one episode? Or in one show, period. Seriously, was there anybody who did not watch them talking French in the Jeep who didn't think of the freaking handprint moment in Titanic? I swear, they needed windows to fog up.
Me, because I've never seen Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio.
You have never seen that movie?
Nope.
Oh my goodness. I love that movie. I think you should try it. There's more than just romance to it.
Is it really?
It does have, it is a romance. It's no kidding there, but it has a lot more than romance in it. especially if you like history.
Back to Teen Wolf!
Yeah, everything in it, I was like, oh, it's either Romeo and Juliet or it's Titanic, and I don't care about these two characters. I have no background on them. Why am I wasting so much time with these characters that I don't care about? You know?
Yeah.
The Nagitsune information, fabulous. But you cannot tell me that you couldn't tell that story in 15 minutes instead of 42. And it was like, and this, by the way, is my number one issue also, way too freaking much time in the flashbacks. It's too drawn out.
Yeah. Would her boyfriend have burned up that fast when they threw the bottle? What was in the bottle?
Apparently gasoline.
Where'd they get gasoline? It's the war! In a relocation camp. What?
Okay, kerosene maybe. I don't know. I think she stole whatever was in it.
Okay. I thought it was like whiskey or something. So I'm just like, what?
Whiskey would not burn that fast.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, okay. Whatever.
Okay, let's go with kerosene, because gasoline would be too hard to find, and there would be absolutely zero purpose for her to steal that. So, kerosene, at least she got some heat going, I guess. I don't know. It was odd. It's California. How much heat do you need? But anyway, yeah, it really didn't make any sense except to move as a plot device as well. Yeah, that was a little strange there. Number 2 for me, recapitations. And these are like extreme recapitation, because we didn't just recap what happened the last episode, we recapped what happened 13 minutes earlier. Really, 13 minutes earlier. You know what, I already saw the Romeo and Juliet nonsense once. I didn't need to see it again in your dream scope. Whatever.
My biggest thing of the episode, and just anytime the Nagitsune shows up, is that when it moves, it's just way too comical, and it throws me out of the scene every single time.
Oh my goodness, I about died when Mummy Mouth stole the Jeep. I about died. I was cracking up so hard. I wasn't supposed to, I'm sure, but oh my goodness. My number one problem with this episode is too much time in the flashbacks, but because since I've already said that, I'm going to pull in the other problem I had that was number 6. All of the characters felt like caricatures. They were flat, they were one-dimensional. You've got the evil MPs, the evil doctor, the innocent kid who dies because of their machinations. Seriously? Every single person. You had the stock hero that was going to come in and save his love. And then the love that saves him back, that's Titanic.
Do you even have any main characters to talk about? Weren't they all just side characters for the most part? We got like Scott and Derek. Derek is like a blip on the radar.
Yeah,
and
Styles didn't show up.
Styles is a blip. Allison is a blip. Although her blip was great and needed, it's still a blip at the end of the day.
I would say that Allison had the biggest part of everybody on here except Scott tonight.
And Scott really didn't have anything. He just happened to be in most of the scenes. Like, let's just be real.
Yeah, I think Scott said about 12 lines, and 3 of them were repeated 4 times. Yeah, Scott didn't have anything to do except to stand around and listen. He was the info dumpy, I guess. Styles had the one scene with the dad. Allison did great. Derek, let's see.
I'm not going to be the first wolf to run away from a fox. Oh, Derek.
I will say that Derek was the one who reminded them that this is probably all a trap and that they had done it again. So smart Derek was back. Yay him. He seems to be determined to make sure that Argent doesn't kill Styles unless it's absolutely necessary. So there's a character development. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but we side characters galore, so let's have at it. Start with Sheriff.
Yes, Sheriff had a great scene with Allison. Sheriff had a great scene at the beginning with Derek and Argent. Quite frankly, as far as secondary characters go, he became a main character in this one.
Yeah. I just love in Lyndon Ashby's like just desperation of it all. And I like that we got like that one sentence kind of back. I don't think we really heard that he'd been in a war before.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him being in the army, so that was really cool. I like how he tied that experience in. But mostly, what I liked about Sheriff this time was the exact same thing I liked about Scott this time. They aren't giving up. They are going to do whatever they can, spin it any way they have to, say whatever line of complete ridiculousness they can in order to save Stiles. Because let's face it, his general theory just sucked out loud.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's just like, oh, it's Teen Wolf. Their plans are always bad, but it manages to shake out in the end.
I'm glad somebody called him on the fact that what he was saying was utter nonsense, but, you know, it's his kid. If utter nonsense is going to work, then that's what you go with.
Let's see. The Yakamoras, I think I related better to Kira's dad than her mom, because her mom, I still feel like she's holding back some information. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't put my finger on what she is actually up to. So while I would like it for there to be a twist to that story, I know we don't have time for it. So I just have to choke that down with the biggest grain of salt.
Isaac was a wash. Melissa never showed. Argent was creepy, weird, strange, and probably going to try to kill Stiles, which will hamper my love for him. Danny was non-present. Deaton was non-present. The Alpha twins were not present, but that was actually a good thing in this case.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know where they would have squeezed them in. And Kira was the showrunner of the night. She became the main character.
You know what? Can I just back up? The thing that I think my other biggest problem about the episode is that, okay, so in 1943, Kira's mom looks just like Kira, and she's only aged that much. But in that next 70 years, she's aged a ton. Really?
That is in my questions of the week. 100%. It's actually my number one question of the week. Do Nagatsunis or Kitsunis control how old they look? Because she's 900 or 800 and in her upper teens, and then she's 900 and she's 40. They have to be able to control that. If they're not controlling that, then that is the weirdest growth spurt ever. So I'm thinking that maybe one of the Kitsunis' hidden powers, along with their ability to immediately heal themselves, is the ability to change the way that they look.
I doubt it'll ever get answered, to be honest.
Oh, me too. And quite frankly, there's so many other questions that it's okay.
Yes, totally okay, but totally irksome.
Villain of the week.
Oh.
The Doctor and the freaking MPs.
We're still at the villain. Yeah, yep. Just really. I mean, how predictable was that? See?
Yeah.
And he sold the morphine too. Really?
Yep.
Really?
Bum, bum, bum. Really? We already knew he's evil. German on the kids too. Just throw that in too. Make him Mengele. Go ahead. Season progression. Everything about this episode was season progression. Everything.
Finally.
And it was a good thing. That is the best thing about it. What did you give this episode?
Gave it a C-.
Me too.
The only reason why I get to C- is that it gave answers. Had it not given any answers and strung me along, this would have been total filler and I would have been annoyed.
It did give lots of answers, and that is a very powerful thing for this. I like the history part of it in some ways, so that helped it too. I thought that there were strong characters that didn't usually get to shine, especially Allison. I like that they're mixing up the different characters. I love that the chessboard came back. So there were a lot of little things in it. Who was your MVP of the episode?
It's a toss-up between Allison and Sheriff Stilinski. I went with Sheriff Stilinski.
Good. My MVP of the episode is...
Answers?
Answers.
I knew it.
100% answers. Because really, that is the only major, shining, important thing about this episode. Everything else in this episode could have been completely deleted, and we could go right into the next episode and not have missed a thing.
Agreed. It's my best. It's my reason to watch this episode.
Best character interaction.
Sheriff Stilinski and Allison. And I'm going to tell you why. I like that because she is the matriarch technically of the Argent family, and you see that she takes charge in the loft. And she gives everybody their marching orders, but at the end of the day, she is still just a teenager, and she's had all these traumas, and we've seen her lose it when Scott was when she was sewing Scott up, but Kate, and other than that, it's a disservice to the character. She needs to have some more character growth, and it's a cathartic release for us and for her. And I really appreciate that it was with Sheriff, because he's a male figure, but at the same time, she doesn't owe anything to him like she owes her father and her family line, as it were.
Very, very true. And that is the exact reason why I picked the same thing.
Yeah. Good for Crystal. Like, she really brought it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you pointed out the lost scene, because she did decide who was teaming up, where they were going, and that is exactly where her character needs to go, because that is the history of her family, and she needs to be allowed to grow into that. If we're going to spend season 4 on Lydia, which we should, because she's been shafted longer than anyone, then we really need to send at least a good part of season 5 growing Allison into the character that she is meant to be.
And, you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for her because she is an archer. So, more training, or even just her and Lydia out in the woods hunting together, just something like that would just warm my heart.
I have a warm spot for her, not because I like the character, because I don't. She tends to be defined by the love interest, which makes her not at all interesting to me. But I have a soft spot for her because she is one of the few kick-butt females back still on the show. And they need to allow her to be that character.
They need to showcase it and rev it up, definitely.
Yep, exactly. Any miscellaneous awards?
No.
All right. Mine are Best Reaction, Kira to learning that her mom was 900 years old. Best Reason to Flash Forward, Romeo and Juliet, the internment years.
The year of my American soldier.
Scene Stealer, Perish. Every time the man's on, Scene steals everything. He reminds me of Coach. And the best surprise, or the best shock of the night, was Satomi was a werewolf. I thought that was a good way of playing it, especially since when I heard the title, I assumed we were talking about Kira and Scott.
And in a way we were, because they're alluding to it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be that lovely parallel that Team Wolf likes.
Yep.
All right. We are now at the fan and critic reaction and listener feedback. So we're going to start with the lovely tweets. Again, as always, we had some great tweets going on. Actually, Teen Wolf was number 8 last week in out of every single thing that was tweeted. That was number 8. So it was very cool. Lost to the Oscars, obviously. But we just really do a lot of fun things in the fandom. Starting with the official tweets, my favorites were Dylan O'Brien, who plays Styles, wrote, "How's the episode so far?" And the official Teen Wolf response was, "Oh, it's butterflies and sunshine as per usual." Yeah, butterflies, sunshine. You know what that means? Butterflies will be evil and sunshine will kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then my favorite person who tweeted this time was J.R. Bourne, who plays Argent. And he was basically taking fans' tweets and then answering them. And Amanda Salmon wrote, "Teen Wolf has taken over my life. Is there a cure?" And he wrote, "Keep watching." Smart man. Smart man. Do you have any official ones that stuck out to you?
You know what? There's so many of them, and by the time that I'm looking at them, they're all at the bottom of it. So no.
Oh, I understand completely. I did far less on tweeting this time, and I still had a gazillion one to go through. All right, favorite fan ones. Ashley, which is at SHLEE407, said, "Listen, Evil Styles, you are really disrespecting those books, and I don't appreciate it at all. Yay, Ashley, there is a librarian in you." Because I felt the same way. I'm like, hey, what those books do to you? At Blood Axe Mermaid with 2 Ds. This, I totally feel her here. "That is not how you properly end an episode, Jeff Davis." Yes, you were right. We're all saying it. Some people saying it more colorfully than others. This one I love because it's super snarky fun, and quite frankly, I agree with it. At Ardo Omar says, "Next episode, Scott places a cup of water on the table in dramatic slow-mo." You are the snarkiest one of them all. Love it. Keep it going. At B he's causing us. I saw lots of examples of that. That one I thought was really clever. And it does seem that way. And I have to say that one of my questions is going to come from that too. At Guldager 6, Styles is possessed by Kira's mom's old lover. Can someone say awkward?
Exactly.
Yeah. And, I never really thought about that way until you put it that way. Thank you. At Janair L335, a show is intense when mass murder at a Japanese internment camp is one of the less stressful storylines. Yes. At TV Oriented, my hands are shaking, my heart's racing. I'm either dying or watching the latest Teen Wolf. And then my favorite one about How I Met Your Mother came from at @StirLazy, which says, a friend just called tonight's Teen Wolf episode, How I Met Your Niggatsuni. Perfect. Oh, those are fabulous. And those were my favorites.
Yeah, I wasn't big on Twitter this week. Sorry, guys. It was just like the West Coast was kind of sleeping, I guess. I saw a lot of, I'm going to download it and watch it when I get home. So that's what I saw a lot by the time I was up on the West Coast feed. But Tumblr was all a buzz. And it's the theories are going around about who's going to save Styles. Is it going to be Derek or is it going to be Scott? And surprisingly, it's 50-50. It's not like Steric all hopped up on steroids. It's actually 50-50 from what I've been noticing. So I say just let them both do it.
I say let it be Sheriff Stilinski.
Ooh.
Or Lydia.
Nah.
I like those two together, and I like that they have the they have that connection, and I don't care who they sleep with. Seriously, I don't want anybody to sleep with anybody on my screen for Teen Wolf because they're all young and it makes me feel, quite creepy. But I think that she's got a great connection, and I think it would be a great way to spearhead into season 4.
I don't know how I feel about that. If anybody, I think it should be Sheriff Stilinski, but out of the two choices that it's probably going to be, it's either going to be Derek or Scott.
And in that case, I am Team Scott. Sorry. But this entire show is built on their friendship. We've already had Styles saving Scott in Motel California. I think that this is a good opportunity for Scott to do the same. But I want it to be Sheriff Stilinski.
Yes.
More than anybody.
And then one of my favorite comments I saw this week, I think on Tumblr, was probably Jesse Jolly, because I basically feel this way all the time too, is I'm caught up on Teen Wolf, but I never really feel like I'm caught up with Teen Wolf because half the time I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Aren't we all?
I thought I would I'm gonna tell you, I really love Tumblr's Teen Wolf meta tags, because they get deep, man. They get really deep, and they give me ideas. And the reviews, the people that review, they really take their time on Tumblr. Like I said, always make sure it's safe for work so you don't get traumatized. I will say that repeatedly. But as long as you stay in the safe zone, it's lots of really great things to make you think. I spent about 2 hours Tuesday night give everybody a chance to get their stuff in. So yeah.
Yeah, that's about how much time I spend on Monday night and then also Tuesday on Twitter.
Okay, so then the next one, the last one that I want to talk about on Tumblr is the West Coast Lady, and it's entitled "My First Impressions of This Week's Teen Wolf." Kira's really freaking pretty. My Teen Wolf, how you've grown. As part of me says, Allison might not be up to anything after all, but then there's another part that's like, she's totally leading this on with that whole tearful act in the elevator. Number 5, where's Lydia? Number 6, no, seriously, where's Lydia?
Oh,
and then it's where's Styles? Oh, there he is. What a way to end the episode. Thank you, Mr. Jeff Davis. Yeah, basically how I felt too.
That pretty much sums it all up. Thank you.
Oh yes, and then P.S. I need it to be Monday again.
Yes. Yes, and what are we going to do 3 Mondays from now? I just don't even know. This will be my first major Teen Wolf hiatus.
Really?
Yeah. Because the only Teen Wolf hiatus I've had is the break between 3A and 3B.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So unless season 4 comes this summer, it will be the longest I've been without Teen Wolf since I started. And that's crushing.
How long do we have to wait?
I don't know, but if they're just starting to film it now, I'm guessing that they're not going to start until, I don't know, it would be mid-summer to late summer at the very earliest.
They probably go for October then.
Winter. Yeah, I'm betting it's winter. It's either going to be a late fall or a winter one.
I don't think that they can make the Teen Wolf fandom wait till 2015. But then again, we did get spoiled, so maybe we might have to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be one seriously traumatic hiatus. It's going to be like Supernatural, early Supernatural all over again.
but bright side of that is that we will be getting lots of like updates, and then Comic-Con's right around the corner, so we'll have like some reels and stuff like that. So we'll make it work.
Yeah, what I'm really saying is all you Teen Wolf hiatus pros, keep the addiction flowing for me. Send me stuff.
It's when you learn to make GIFs and you really up your screen capping game. That's what happened to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna need people to keep me. I'm gonna need my fix, and I'm counting on the fandom.
Oh, before I forget, my favorite review this week, it was it actually kind of flip-flopped. It was Backlot, Hypable, and then Dinner Geek. No honorable mentions this week.
All right. And Den of Geek, you said?
Yep.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think we are at the Shameless Plugs and wrap-up part of the episode.
Oh, you didn't want to do theories or anything?
Oh, I so forgot.
Yes, I got you finally.
Let's go to theories and the 6 billion questions I've got. Go for it.
Actually, mine isn't really a theory. It's the importance of echo. Kira's dad talks about, that quote, those who fail history are doomed to repeat it. And if you use echo as a noun, the second definition of it is a close parallel or repetition of an idea, feeling, style, or event. And then the verb, the second definition of it is to be reminiscent of or have shared characteristics with, which is exactly what's kind of going on. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would say that style is running pretty much the same way as everything. You've got the fox and the wolf combining together to take out the Nagatsune again. Almost everything here is paralleled, which is part of the problem with the episode.
Yeah.
Because we've already done this. And now we did it in the 40s.
And then, yeah, like, that was another repetitious thing. It's like, because Derek says, wait, we've done this before. So, that's what made me really, like, think. And I'm like, yeah. And then they go back to the echoes of Ekin House, like, are those the screams that Lydia is hearing still?
That was my question. And my question now becomes, was Lydia really hearing the MRI like we all assumed because it sounded like the MRI? Or was she hearing something that was happening in Echo House? Because it feels like she is more connected to the Icon House than she is anything else at this point. And how are we going to reconcile the fact that she was hearing the basement, she was feeling the basement, Styles said he was in the basement, what the heck is happening with these basement connection? I know the Nagatsune was in there, the body was in there, but is that really powerful enough to create all of these, hallucinations?
Well, and then also, it called Allison and left that message,
But did it? That I'm not sure about still. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop on that one. I think that that's still going to be a major issue. Well, maybe not a major issue because we only have 3 episodes left. But I still think that's going to be a plot point coming in later.
I hope so, because it's weird.
And it's running out of time to be one. So, come on. Step it up, Jeff. That would be way too much of a dropped plot point, I think, for Teen Wolf. On other genre shows, that would be no big deal. It'd be like just a pothole in the road. But for Teen Wolf that tries to tie things in and tries to come up with answers, that would be a pretty big gaping hole. I think it's still going to be there. For me, what is up with saying chaos, strife, and pain 9,000 times? We've said that more than we've said echo at this point. Do we have to say all three? Is it like, a Nagatsune contract or something?
I'm telling you, it's two more Nagatsune or evil Kitsune out there. And
I agree.
It's going to hit two more people close to us before it's all said and done.
I think it almost has to be, because Styles is the chaos. Who's the strife? Who's the pain?
I think the strife would be maybe Allison. And then the pain, because Chris Argent has a history of violence, would be the pain.
Could be.
That's an awesome movie, by the way, with Viggo Mortensen.
But Derek has been the pain getter of all of 3A. So, and the Alpha twins are giving off pain more than anyone else. I mean, it just seems like they're saying that over and over and over and over again, that either someone's stuck in a rut and needs to get a thesaurus, or it is actually important and there's something going on there.
It's Teen Wolf, it's important. How important? I don't know.
True. Very true. Yeah. My other question is, why is it so easy to kill the Nagatsune? I mean, really, it was one stab. It was a claw in the back and a stab. Doesn't it seem like the Nagatsune should be, more powerful?
Well, it's not completely dead, though. It was dormant.
Yeah, it was sucked into the body of a fly. Thank you, Jeff Davis.
Oh, that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was, I don't know. It's interesting. And also, it shouldn't, I guess I understand this from a writing point of view, more than a logical point of view, but the Nematon was supposed to be the big bad, the big scary, and really, the only thing that's come out was the Firefly people and the Fly guy. So...
For right now, though.
For right now, yeah. Are they just, lining up in a queue, waiting for them to, slaughter them and go on?
Well, they just turned the beacon on, Dawn. So, I mean, no, literally, that's what, basically I'm taking Deaton at his word, which is an awful thing to do. I should learn my lesson from Teen Wolf. But no, I kind of believe him about that. So, the beacon is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and then eventually they're going to have to, take the juice away from the Nematon.
Yeah, I see that being a main plot point. Something that needs to happen relatively quickly, or else it's not going to make any sense that they are only dealing with one big bad each time. It would seem like they should be having other smaller ones that they're dealing with on a more, monster of the week kind of thing, now that they've had the Nematon come through. But I'm not sure how I feel about that way. I think Teen Wolf could actually benefit from having a couple of standalone episodes. We don't have that in Teen Wolf. And I think that sometimes having a Monster of the Week would be pretty beneficial, because then we can get the whole team working together and quickly solve the problem.
If we stretched out the season to 15 episodes per season, maybe. But, 12 that's hard to do with 12.
Yeah, I'm still going to this we're having 24 episodes in season 5 thing.
Well, yeah, there's that. If he's not going to break the season up again.
Yeah, that is true. He does like to break the seasons up. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a great sweeping myth arc, because we should. That is a Teen Wolf thing. It's what we come to expect. It allows for growth over time. And it really works in Jeff Davis's writing style. So, but I think that sometimes having a standalone episode would work, but not a standalone episode that has characters we don't care about.
Yeah, I definitely want more monsters. I totally get where you're coming from, because it's interesting to dive into because Deaton said that they would have enough monsters to fill a bestiary with. I'm ready to see that.
And they do such a good job of coming up with the actual history of the monsters that I would love to see their take on one-on-one. That doesn't mean that we need to have 600 big bads like the Alpha Pack and the Duroc at the same time. But just a few that they can... I want them to get a few wins and they're not.
Like Matt.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the Matt subplot. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
I don't know. My theory about who's going to die is still Derek, but moving much farther down in the percentages at this point because of the freaking the promo. Teen Wolf likes to spoil us. Let's just put that right out there. They spoil us in the middle of the freaking episode by showing us what's going to happen next. But I find it hard to believe that they would put the actual main character death that they're hyping in the promos.
Are you talking about the one where he gets shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, he's still my number one person simply because we haven't seen Isaac in forever, and so if they are going to kill him off, it's pretty much like, oh well.
Isaac's not a candidate, though. If you go by the spoilers of what Jeff said, Isaac is not a candidate. But I think that people are going to be annoyed because it's Styles, and Styles is just going to be reborn a werewolf. Like, sorry, deal with it. That's that's what I'm like almost 90% sure is going down, and it's going to annoy people.
Then he lied because he said that they would not be resurrected and they would not be heading back.
Human Styles won't be back. That's going to be the loophole.
That doesn't change the main title card.
He has to. His title card has been stagnant for the last 3 seasons. Him as a werewolf changes the title card to reflect such. I'm just telling you.
If that's the case, then I am going to never, ever, ever be in suspense about Jeff Davis, what he says again. Ever.
He's a tricky little devil, and that's just the way that I see it going because I don't know. It's a lot of catawampus going on, and I don't know. Like that's my best theory. That's the thing that I just like. That's what I'm preparing myself for.
I don't like that theory.
Sorry.
On 900 different levels.
I don't know. Like, I'm not attached to Styles as a human. Like, it's just whatever Dylan O'Brien, like, whatever they give Dylan O'Brien, he knocks it out of the park. So for me, I'm just good for the ride.
Not me. I will have more issues. It will be my Boy King issue of the season if he becomes a werewolf.
And I don't have a problem with that subplot either. So I'm in it for the ride for Teen Wolf, and I really love the cast chemistry, and
that's true.
I just like what Jeff throws something on the wall, and they all try to figure it out, and so I'm just good with it, I guess.
That brings me to one of my favorite things that happened about Teen Wolf this week, and it was Melissa Ponzio, who plays Mama McCall, who basically wrote, people who make up spoilers, go to your room and think about what you've done, and then everybody tweeted all of these fabulous spoilers that they were just totally making up, and it was one of the most fun, fan interactive kind of things that I saw ever, and my favorite spoiler that they had was O'Brien Lover, and he says, spoiler, Melissa and Sheriff got drunk in Vegas and have been married for 2 years.
I like that. Hey, canon, accept it.
So, if you have any great, out there, totally wacky spoilers, send them to Melissa Ponzio because she's just getting all kinds of fun response to it. It was my favorite thing that happened on Twitter this week. My favorite fan-vid-ish thing was not really a fan-vid or poster, but it is one that has, from the first season, that has Styles hanging upside down from the window and Scott looking at him like, what the heck? And then they tied it to the picture of the fox and the hound with the fox looking down as the hound's inside. And it's just picture perfect. I love it. Who knew that we'd have the fox and the hound for sure? Oh, and then also we've got the Be Your Own Anchor artwork that's going around that's just phenomenal. And, seriously, Be Your Own Anchor is still the best line of season 3. Those are my favorite things of Teen Wolf this week.
Do you think everybody knows the wolf and the fox thingy? If not, you guys can Google it, actually. It's getting a little... But yeah, I thought that was interesting because, like, I was looking for the synopsis. Like, I was like, no, that is not what I'm looking for.
The Aesop fable.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to the two squirrel one.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and tell us.
Okay, let me pull it back up. Okay. It's a German fairy tale. Of course, it's in the Brothers Grimm and Aesop and all that stuff. A wolf and a fox are living together where the fox, which is the weaker of the two, is forced to do all the hard work for the wolf. One day, the wolf makes the fox get him something to eat, and the fox says he knows where there are a couple of lambs. The fox steals a lamb for the wolf, but not content with just one, the wolf goes back for the other, where he is caught by the farmer's men and severely beaten. The next day, the wolf again makes the fox get him some food. The fox says he knows of a farm where the woman is baking pancakes and steals some for the wolf. Wanting more, the wolf goes to the farm on his own, but causes a commotion which gets the woman's attention and is again severely beaten. Sometime later, the wolf again makes the fox get food. The fox says he knows of a farmer's cellar where meat is being stored and leads the wolf to the cellar. The wolf gobbles up the meat while the fox also takes some, but keeps checking to make sure he can still get out the way he came in. The fox's constant scurrying gets the attention of the farmer, who goes to investigate. The fox is able to escape, but the wolf has eaten so much that he can't get out, and he is eventually caught and killed by the farmer.
Okay, so that's the spoiler that Derek's gonna die. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I took it as for this episode in particular is that it was the exact opposite. Kira's mom was basically the wolf being greedy with stealing all the supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of the way that I took that, and the fact that the wolf was kind of like calling her out on her stuff.
Yeah, that is true. Very, very true. All right, anything else?
Nope. Let's hit it. Oh, no. One more thing. The shameless plug and self-promotion of the night was AT&T on Cher's phone.
Very, very good. Oh, they do love their phones. You notice that they haven't had as much food product placed at this time.
Well, yeah. AT&T is a major sponsor and, and Toyota too. So.
And Nike.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Every time they're wearing clothes that have anything to do
the
with
workout
anything
stuff.
athletic,
Yep.
It's all Nike, and they carry those Nike bags everywhere.
Very true.
Yeah. All right, what are your shameless plugs?
Well, I'm happy to report that just this morning, I recorded my very first DC's Watchtower podcast, which is an all DC Nation podcast for Southgate Media Group.
Woohoo!
So it'll be on iTunes probably in the next week and a half. Also, the Winchester Report will be back with a brand new episode sometime this weekend. And I'm working on a blog dedicated to the Sirens, aka the awesome kick butt ladies of sci-fi and fantasy.
Ooh, very cool. That's pretty awesome.
And if you guys want to follow me just regular on Twitter, it's at Lilith Hellfire. If you want to follow this podcast for the West Coast airing, you can follow at Beacon Hills Pod. You can catch us on Tumblr at welcome to Beacon Hills Podcast.tumblr.com. And you can check southgatemedia.com/welcome to Beacon Hills if you want to take a listen without having to use Stitcher or iTunes, which I know a lot of people don't like to do for whatever reason.
I understand that completely. Yeah, you can find the podcast just all over the place. So, check us out. That's what we're saying. As for me, I am still working on Last Week in TV. It should come out every Monday, so check that out there. You can find it at Spoiler TV, at my blog, or at Southgate Media's blog spot. Just so you know, next week we will have a special guest coming in and doing the podcast with us. That is Kristen Durr. You can find her at Kristen Had. And she does a lot of work with GIF recaps, so if you like to have a little pictures with your recaps, she's the person to check out. She does a lot of sci-fi shows. Chances are, if you like Teen Wolf, you'll like something else that she gives caps. As for me, you can find me, as always, at Dahne1. That's at Dahne1. And, surprisingly, I might even have the Teen Wolf recap up next, tomorrow, so... Check that out at my blog. It's at Dahne1.blogspot.com. Alright, and that takes us to the end of our episode. And seriously, after this one, just stay inside, because even the past is out to get you.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.